Hello and welcome to Stumped Down the Leg Side, the cricket discussion show on Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. I'm your host Chukka Wilson. Welcome to the program. Today will be part 2 of my discussion on television cricket commentators. In the previous episode, I talked about the fact that because television stations have this fierce competition for ratings and sponsorship deals, there's always this pressure on directors and producers to hype up the games they're airing and make the broadcasts as filled with flashy content as possible. But it's actually just a huge distraction to the game of cricket, the very thing they're meant to be broadcasting. It's one thing to use hype in your advertisements to lure new viewers, but once someone's actually watching your show, then you might as well put the flashy lights and loud music away and actually focus on doing a really good job of broadcasting this cricket match happening right now. Once producers get into this mindset, they in turn will pressure commentators to constantly fill empty space with meaningless chatter, so that they will often say whatever comes off the top of their heads, rather than something that comes from deep critical contemplation and that actually has important insights. Thus, most of the content of what television cricket commentators say is totally worthless, stating the obvious and just describing the scene in front of them, and could easily be gotten rid of wholesale from the broadcast, because it doesn't actually add something substantively to the watching of cricket. And now, here is the continuation of my discussion. In all fields of life, one of the surest signs of wrongdoing is when you have a group of people holding regulatory oversight power over themselves, or those who were or could be themselves. Whether it's politicians determining their own pay, the military doing an internal review into its own conduct, or companies setting their own regulations, you know that something suspicious might be going on behind the scenes. The very fact that there isn't an objective, disinterested authority begs for the possibility of such wrongdoing. Even if there isn't anything wrong actually happening, the fact that it could be happening is reason enough to worry. Quite obviously, television cricket commentators, who are former players and whose job it is to report on current day cricket matches, are not nearly as corrupt or criminal as those above examples. However, the very fact that mainstream civil discussion about international cricket is being dominated, controlled and confined by the opinion of former cricket players suggests the possibility that inappropriate behaviour might be at play. Let me explain why I think that. Former cricketers are in a unique position within the cricketing world. They have been directly inside the system for a great many years and have earned a career as professional players and public representatives. And because they were so deeply involved for so long, they know the dark and unpleasant underbelly of cricket. They know how much separation there is between image and reality, where the PR hype ends and the less attractive, less romantic real world begins. They know who is scratching whose back, where the money flows from one wallet to another's pocket, when authorities do a three wise monkeys routine when wrongdoing is spotted, from the biggest crimes to the smallest misdemeanor. But unlike current players who cannot speak out because they are under contract and could get silenced or fired for their indiscretion, former players are under no such burden, no longer living and operating directly in that world, financially independent. They are free to say whatever they want to whomever they want. They have the opportunity to spill the beans, to tell the world the nasty truth about how professional cricket actually operates, where the dirty money is actually hidden, and why there is no justice or decency in the game. This is where the position and status of television cricket commentators is so important, because they are a trusted first-hand authority. They are former players after all, and so have direct experience and knowledge about what international cricket is all about. So when they tell an anecdote or explain an experience, there is immediately the appreciation that they know what they're talking about. They are the experts on this topic, and we should take them at their word. They are, first of all, able to reinforce and protect and maintain the dominant narrative of what professional cricket is all about, which primarily comes out of the PR department of the cricketing control boards. Commentators can retell the story about how wonderful, exciting and entertaining the game of cricket is, how it's only going to be getting better with time. They can call on all members of the public to only look at the game happening right now, right there in front of us, and definitely not look at that suspicious looking closet over there, with the blood dripping out and the loose banknotes slipping down. So cricket commentators become the main ideological vehicles for world cricket. Unpleasant subjects that might undermine the way the game is managed and played are kept off the table, and we only ever hear positive, optimistic discussion about how glorious cricket is and how the competition is really exciting. Cricket commentary is first and foremost about public relations imagery, about lying to the public, trying to mislead and misdirect the masses. It's about imposing a particular set of ideas and values onto the cricket public. Television commentators are members of the cricketing establishment, in close contact with television executives and cricket board administrators. Within this small body of elites, opinions about where the game of cricket should be taken are made, questions are debated out, and eventually a consensus is reached. It's then the job of the commentators to impart these particular views about the game onto the broader public, in order to shape popular views and lay the groundwork for the approaching policy changes. The job of the television commentator is, therefore, to act as an extension of the PR department of the Cricket Control Board. When some sort of change related to fixture, rule, policy, pay or advertising is going to go through, the commentators need to speak about it to their audience in a way so that the public get convinced that the decision was the right one. Public opinion is carefully crafted, shaped and organised thanks to these modern day priests. Much like priests of yesteryear, cricket commentators have unimpeachable integrity, insight and knowledge way beyond the average member of the public, and have almost divine insight into the mysterious inner workings of the world. Both priests and commentators try to control what the public knows and thinks, so that they never do anything inappropriate or unexpected. Quite often, commentators are little more than mouthpieces for the advertisers and administrators, parroting their ideas about the state of cricket and presenting them as the common sense understanding of reality. They may be self-aware and conscious that this is what they are doing, or they may have self-deluded themselves into thinking something else in order to morally justify their behaviour. They may have convinced themselves that they are a public good for the services they provide, and that these are genuinely their opinions on the world. Regardless of their own personal understanding of their behaviour, this is what they're actually doing. And whenever cricket administrators want to force through a particular change to the system, like a change in the funding structure or the scheduling or the rules, it's always the commentator's job to justify, defend and promote the change. From introducing more 2020 cricket into the calendar schedule to removing an outfielder from the last 10 overs of a one-day international, the commentators will always say that it was the right thing to do, that cricket has been improved by this change, and that only good things can come of this. And that's the end of the program. You've been listening to Stumped Down the Leg Side, the cricket discussion show on Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. I'm Chukka Wilson. Until next time, keep practicing, keep your eye on the ball, and remember to turn your wrists.